Fashion family, welcome back to another video. We are here in my newly finished sewing room. I'm very excited. As you can see, I have a really big table that I can do my projects on, and my beautiful Husqvarna vintage sewing machine in the background. I am here because I'm going to be starting a super exciting sewing project. I am going to be working on and hopefully making a gown which is featured in season 4 of the BBC series Poldark. Now, if you've never seen this historical drama series made by the BBC, it follows the titular character of Ross Poldark and takes place in the 18th century, more specifically, I think 1785, if I'm not mistaken. Now, if you don't want any more spoilers than that, please just click ahead a couple minutes in the video, because I am going to be talking about some of the things that happened in season 4. Now, between the first season and the 4th season of Poldark, more than 10 years go by. And so, by the time you arrive in season 4, it's 1797, and fashions are gradually changing. During that season, Ross Poldark is elected to Parliament. He spends a lot of the season in London, I believe, while his wife Demelza is kind of holding down the fort at home. Their marriage is kind of on rocky ground, and so in a gesture of goodwill, Ross proposes to his wife to accompany him to London, and Demelza is really excited because she's just a simple country girl. She's never been to the city. Basically, all of season 4 is kind of divided up between Demelza and all the stories going on in Cornwall where they live, and then what Ross is doing in London. And there's a super interesting contrast that hit me right away in this new season, whereas you see that in London the fashions are gradually changing to a more Regency style form of dress, especially for the women. It's particularly noticeable, whereas in Cornwall the fashions are still very much ingrained in that mid-18th century, with a very fitted bodice, the waist that kind of hits at the natural waistline and then flares out with bum roll or hip pads. Whereas in London, you were starting to have the Regency silhouette, where the waistline is gradually moving up until it is under the chest. And this style started becoming really popular at the end of the 18th century. So it perfectly fits with the timeline here of 1797. That would be when you started having dresses like the chemise à la reine. You have that very distinctive transitional style where the waistline is gradually moving up to under the chest, and then it flows downward in kind of an A-line or a light flare, whereas before you had that very distinctive waist. The 18th century style of dress was also a lot of 3/4 length sleeves, whereas in the Regency period you have a lot of kind of more freedom in your sleeves, so you would have a lot of short puff sleeves, which came into style later in Regency, to which you could attach longer sleeves for in the colder months. So as I was saying, it was so interesting watching this new season of Poldark because you can clearly see that contrast between the London style, where it's this Regency Empire style dress is becoming so popular, and in Cornwall things are staying still very 18th century. And so when Demelza arrives in London, it's kind of a strange thing for her because all of her clothes are out of fashion and she has to go to a ball. Her good friend, Caroline Penvennon, who is a rich socialite who's been living in London for a couple of months, she asks Demelza, "What are you going to wear to this ball tomorrow night?" And Demelza just kind of says, "Oh, I'm going to wear my best dress that I wore to your wedding," which of course is in the old 18th century style. And Caroline says, "Oh no, you can't wear that. I'll help you. I'll get you something that you can wear, something of mine." And so she has this dress modified for Demelza for the next day. And there's a very funny scene where Demelza is trying on the gown and she's just mystified by this new style. It looks, it's really flowy, it's completely different, it seems completely unformal to her. And Ross even makes a joke where he says, "Oh, you're wearing a really nice nightgown. Maybe I should wear my nightshirt and I can join you." So this really accentuates in a really funny way that the crazy contrast of these two styles that are meeting, kind of embodied in the character of Demelza, who's discovering this new style and who's really mystified. And so, beyond the interest that I had in that funny little scene, I was just smitten with her dress. It's this beautiful teal ball gown, decorated with gold metalwork, gold embroidery, and it's just beautiful. It looks stunning with her red curls. It seems to me like she has a sage green silk underdress over which is laid a sheer dress of the same color. This was a style that was very popular, this layering. This allowed them to have either a matching color underdress, or then you could switch it out for a white underdress or another color for more variety in your wardrobe. I'm not sure in the costume of the series if they actually made it in two pieces. Two pieces would have been the more historical choice, but I'm wondering if they decided to make it all in one for costuming purposes. In my case, I think I'm going to be making the dress into one single piece, just because I don't really need to be able to switch out the underdress, and I think that making it all in one will make it more easy for me to get in and out of it, and just a little bit less fussy in the fit. There is a really wide band of gold metalwork that kind of depicts flowers, and then there's several rows of sequins on the top and bottom, and it's just really beautiful and elaborate. And I'm kind of wondering if that is something that was pre-made that they added, so it's present on the chest area and then on the sleeves. There is also a promotional image of Demelza and Ross that they were promoting for the beginning of season 4 of Poldark. And in this image, you can clearly see that her gown has a long train, and the gold border is all around the train and then up the side of the dress. As I said before, I think that this may have been a pre-made band that they added, but I could not find anything remotely similar, and I wanted really my dress to be super accurate to the screen when it concerned that specific decoration, and so I'm going to be making it myself. Really funny thing also is that I rushed home to try to film this before the sun completely went down, but I live in Sweden and it's about 4:20 and the sun is setting. Welcome to Sweden, everyone. Anyway, as I said, I am going to be showing you the materials I got to do this embroidery. This is a sequin band that I'm going to be using for to do the rows and kind of all of the decoration that requires this. I noticed that the bands at the top and bottom of the decoration, the sequins don't overlap like this one, but this was the closest I could get. Next, I ordered a bunch of metal threads. I have here a gold metal thread, and so that will be used to do all the outlines of the flowers. And then here I have some gold silver thread that's a bit thinner that I'm going to be using to attach everything together. Another thing that I'm going to have to do with the metal thread is the little flowers that are covering the entire dress. So all of the sheer fabric on her gown, the overlay, has these little flowers like this one. I'm going to be using my sequins to make these top bands and then going all around the edges of the flowers and then using them for this as well. And then as you can see, there's also some petals up here that require a darker color of sequin. So I got some loose sequins that are more pink, although not as red as I originally wanted them, but they came from really far. All of my gold metal thread and sequins came all the way from India from an Etsy shop called Embroidery Material in New Delhi. And they have so much stuff for such a good price, and from what I can see, it just really seems really great. It looks exactly like the image that I ordered it off of, and really cheap. It's just the postage and the customs, if you have to pay anything, will be the biggest cost probably. And so I ordered a bunch from them. I recommend, if you're looking for any gold metal work embroidery supplies, to go check them out. Now, I am going to be making some modification to the gown because, let's admit it, I do not have the same body type as Eleanor Tomlinson, who plays Demelza, who is very slim, trim, has a small chest, which I do not have. I am none of those things. So I'm gonna have to just do some kind of little changes, as well as some changes for just practicality, because I am going to be wearing this to a ball where I intend to move around and dance, and so I don't want a long train getting in the way. That brings me to, I am going to be reducing the train. In the promotional image, you can see that she has quite a long train. I'm going to be chopping that down to a more manageable length for me. Also, quite interestingly, in the promotional image, you can see she has long sleeves. When you look in the episode that this dress is featured in, she has short sleeves. So I don't know if they decided after the promotional photo to make it shorter sleeves, and then that was modified later on, or if it's changeable, like interchangeable sleeves, which would have been quite common for the time. In this case, I've decided to go with the short sleeves, no interchangeable, nothing, just to keep it simple and no fuss. In the promotional image, you can also see that there is the embroidered decoration all around the train, and I'm not going to be doing that just because I don't want to die. Of course, I haven't talked about the most important part of this project, the fabric. So from the series, I tried to compile kind of an idea, general idea of the color of the dress. It's this kind of dark and green, teal color. But basically what really pushed me over the edge and decided me to do this project was that I was at the thrift store and I found this. I don't know if the color looks correct on your screen. 2 panels of curtain. It is synthetic. It's not going to be a silk dress. Sadly, I am a big fan of secondhand sewing and budget sewing. So basically all of my budget is going into my embroidery materials. All of my fabric is secondhand. So I'm going to be using this synthetic green sheer fabric to do the overdress. So all over this will be embroidered those little flowers. And then the underdress that's going to be attached under it is going to be this soft, I think it's probably some kind of viscose. So that's going to be my underdress. Regarding the construction of the gown itself, I'm going with a very kind of historically accurate approach to it. I paused the episode where this dress is featured. I paused it a bunch of times and took screenshots of everything and compiled kind of a lookbook with the different angles so that I could really see it from different angles and how it was constructed. Additionally, to help me, I'm going to be using this butterick pattern for a Regency gown. I think I'm going to be using the one for this because it has a rounded neckline and it has a plain dress with a sheer overlay, which is exactly what I need. So I don't know, I might combine a little bit of free drafting with my use of the pattern to get a general idea. Often when I'm using a pattern, I often deviate a lot from it because I just find that in the end I have to modify the pattern so much that I don't even end up using the pattern very much. Oops. Does anyone else do this? Just buy a pattern and then you just start using it and you're like, no, I'm just gonna wing it, and you just throw your pattern. Never mind. So, thanks so much for watching. I will be sure to keep you updated. If you don't follow me on Instagram, I'm going to be posting most of the updates there. Go follow me at Thrifted Threads Conservator. Yeah, thanks for watching, and keep you updated on the Poldark progress. See you soon. Bye. Focus. Focus. Focus, focus, focus. You can do it. Am I back? Yes.